Oh man, I wish we'd have thought of this 30 years ago, man. Had you banging in the big.
Oh man, they've been right up my alley too. 2025.
Yeah,
My
that's
40s,
right.
I can still
That's
hang
right.
too a little bit. So
For sure.
I used to hold down the set at White Men
Before
Can't Jump. They say, oh, he done put it in the
yeah,
NBA
I'm
mode. We
pretty
got to look
sure,
out for
man.
him now.
You was hard to handle for
We
the
done-
pros, so I'm pretty sure for the amateurs, they was saying, hold on.
The five-time All-Star Marques Johnson.
Alongside Marques Johnson.
What's up, everybody? Hey, this is the Here District, captain of this vessel. And I got my first mate, my number one son, Kris Johnson.
What up? Talk to me.
Let it rain, man. Let it rain.
I guess I go, guess what? We're going back to teach on Friday.
Yeah. Can't pass us all the breakfast.
Can't pass
Go fight. Welcome, everybody, to the Here District, Marques Johnson.
You're listening to a Bucks Plus audio production on the Bucks Plus Network.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend. This is Here District with Marques Johnson, alongside his son and 1995 NCAA champion, Kris. Here's MJ.
All right, welcome to Here District. I'm Marques Johnson, captain of this vessel on this fantastic voyage following Bucks basketball all season long. My first mate, Kris Johnson, we're the only father and son combination in NCAA history to win a national championship at the same school. That's the caveat. UCLA at the same school. We made history. And speaking of making history, we got, it's just an iconic celebrity, producer, director, actor, giant in the music industry, Ice Cube, man. We thank you so much for coming by Here District today, man. Welcome.
Man, thanks for having me. You know, what's cool about what you just said is, my first movie was Boys in the Hood. It was a song I had wrote when I was with a group called N.W.A. with Eazy-E. That was my first movie. And years later, my son come along. His first movie is Straight Outta Compton, which is the story of my group.
Yep.
So it's almost like we play for the same team, you know what I mean? And we both kind of scored our, basically introducing ourselves to the world through N.W.A.
Yeah.
Me through the music, him through the movie. So in some ways, it's similar to what you guys did on the basketball court.
And you just ruined my joke, Ice Cube, because I was gonna say, how does it feel? I was gonna mention that my son Josiah, podcasting with Gil's Arena, does a great job with them. My other son Josh starred in what was that, Kris?
All the Queen's Men.
Tyler Perry's All the Queen Men. I got another son, Mariah. How does it feel to be the second best actor in the family? That was good.
It feels pretty good, I'm gonna get that to him. I'll take the best rapper.
Yeah.
He can take the best actor.
Yeah. No, he's good. He was good. He was good in Swagger. I don't know how much of that series you saw, but man, I loved that show. And Kevin Durant it seemed like it was kind of based on his life. I think Lauryn Hill's nephew was the lead, who actually had some game. But your son, Coach Ike, I mean, that's when I first noticed him and his chops as an actor. So that was just a real discovery for me watching him in that show. But he's done a great job in everything I've seen him in. Yeah,
he's been brilliant. And I just happy to see him living out his dream when it comes to being a part of Hollywood at the highest levels. So.
Yeah. And final point on that. So I'm gonna have my people contact your people. I got a screenplay I wrote about a father and son dynamic, firefighter screenplay in the 1950s, integrating the LA Fire Department. Great father-son dynamic. We'll talk later, but just keep that in mind.
Plug it.
Burning for Justice. Come on, it is actually with UTA right now, and I'll send you the coverage. Great coverage on that, but we'll talk more about that later. But man, we got you here because, first of all, where'd you grow up? I want to know a little bit about your background. I know L.A., but where in L.A. did you grow up? What part of the city?
Van Ness and Imperial, that area.
Woo!
That was basically that area. Van Ness, Imperial, 108th, Western.
So that's Washington. Washington High School. You're supposed to go to Washington. Yes, yes. See,
I actually went to Taft.
I know you went to
I
Tab, but that's Washington's neighborhood. I mean, that's
definitely
the
watched the high school neighborhood for sure.
right. Yeah, because I played. I grew up with James Lofton, Hall of Famer for the Green Bay Packers,
Yeah,
at it's Jesse Owens Park now, but it was Sportsman's Park back in the day when we
I
played
remember
there.
Sportsman.
Yeah. Right on. Was
Sportsman.
that Century and Western or something like that? So
Yeah,
anyway,
Central
yes.
and Western. You got it
Oh,
right.
okay, because because you capture, man, the essence of Los Angeles in your music like few others have been able to do. And as an old school guy, I've always appreciated that. And the one thing that connects me with your music, man, is that these samples are from songs of my era. So you got the Isley
Yeah,
Brothers, you got the Dance Band, and
yeah.
it gives me credit with my kids because I can say, "Oh yeah, that's that's the Dance Band, or that's Between the Sheets." You know, like, what? How do you know all that? So that's my era. So you've been able to bridge, man, some generations, man, with your music that they probably without even intending to. I don't know.
Yeah, I grew up, my brothers and sisters, they're about, y'all are probably in the same school, they, a few years older than me, and they would always hit me to the funk,
Yeah,
to the good music, to the soul music, the R&B. And we grew up loving that music. So when it was time to do our music, that's what we sampled from.
yeah,
Yep.
And, it's a great era.
yeah,
It don't get no better than the
man.
music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. And so, I still lean back and grab some of that music because now the newer generation need to, they need to hear it through me and then find the original. So,
Yep.
great music never die.
Yeah,
So I'm proud. And, that's LA.
yeah,
LA, people think LA is surf and sun, but it's a culture in LA that's a little more street, a little more funky than that. So
yeah.
I love to be able to present that in the music.
And Kris, help me out with this. But we were talking. There's a whole dialect of talking that couple of generations behind. We go, "What's up, homie? What's up?" It's a whole way of talking in LA that's really
Yeah.
special to LA. That it just came out of nowhere for me because I wasn't plugged into the street scenes. And all of a sudden, my nephew, people like that, I'm hearing them talk. And it's a
Yeah.
whole other dialect. So yeah,
Nah, but Cube, I want to go back to America's Most Wanted
Yeah,
because we on the anniversary. You dropped that 30-something years ago. It was one of
35.
35. It was one
wow,
of the defining soundtracks of my childhood. You can ask my pops. I mean, I was reciting your lyrics, bruh, when I'm 13, 14 years old, verbatim. So I already know what time it is. But my question is this. You left N.W.A. around that time. How did that period shape your voice as a solo artist?
Well, what I loved about N.W.A. is before it was called gangster rap, we called it reality rap.
mm,
Gangster rap is something that ended up being coined by the media and just took a life of its own. So I was always into what's called street knowledge, being able to hit people on what we were going through growing up, and also hit the people that we grew up with to what government was doing to curb their progress and success. So I love that element of it. When I was in N.W.A, I was a member, so it was Easy E show. It was the
Yeah,
Dr. Dre show. But when I went solo, it was my show, and I could do the kind of records that I felt from the heart that needed to be done, and it was always to me a form of street knowledge. I wanted to teach you with my music and not just brag and boast.
man. I mean, when you dropped No Vaseline, I mean, it was life changing because we hadn't heard somebody go that hard at another group of people. I mean, you went hard. You crucified him. I think for me at the time, I was like, Cube is just sending a message that he's here. Now, my question to you at that time, like, was there pressure on you to outdo what you had done with N.W.A. when you were a solo artist, and how did you like tap into that to where you tried to live up to that pressure?
I didn't really feel that pressure. My pressure was to establish myself and to do the kind of records that I felt would connect with the people.
Yeah,
When I left, I really didn't look in my rearview mirror until they started talking shit about me, and then,
mm,
from there, we was like, oh, okay, I gotta, I can't just let it slide.
Right.
This rap game, so you gotta respond. And so, I was like, yo, I'm not playing with it. They may be jabbing, but I'm gonna try to end this. And I was ready for more rounds. So it was something that I felt like, okay, here we go. It's about to be kind of a war of attrition when it comes to lyrics. And here we go. And fortunately, it stopped with one record. We didn't have to go back and forth and back.
Well, and that was my question. In terms of repercussions, was it on the Gary Payton, Jordan Crawford level in terms of Big Three confrontations? I mean, was it something that you felt you had to watch your back? You felt like, I'm putting this out here, and now I don't know where this is going to go and how it's going to go?
Yeah, man, because, they right there in Compton. That ain't too far.
Yeah.
You could throw a rock and hit South Central from Compton. So, you definitely had to, have your head on a swivel. And, this was a family feud. So not only did we know each other, but we knew people who knew, everybody knew where we were and how to get to us because we all knew the same people. So you could be doing something and they pull up on you. So we was always, weary that it could get physical. It did a few times. We did get into a few squabs. But at the end of the day, cooler heads prevailed.
Who got into a squab? Who was squabbing? This is breaking news for me.
Yeah, we got in the squad with Above the Law a few times.
Okay.
One time it was me and Crazy Tunes, and the other time it was the Lynch Mob and them. So yeah, it got physical.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like I said, cooler heads prevailed. Me and Easy talked, and he was like, "Man, we came from the streets. Like we trying to do something to get us out the streets. But if we're gonna just bring the streets into the music industry, we're gonna be back, or somebody gonna be in jail, somebody gonna get hurt or killed. You know what I mean? We're gonna be back to square one. So let's just keep it on wax. If we don't like each other, keep it on wax, man. Don't let it get physical. Don't let it get in the streets." And that was the best thing that happened.
So listen, man, let's talk a little bit about what one of the main reasons we got you here, the Big Three. I mean, and so you've tapped into something else in terms of just an opportunity for, first of all, for older players to still kind of get basketball, not so much out of their system, but a means of expression for them in a great forum, great platform in terms of, national TVs, crowds, and all that. Was this your brainchild? Did somebody bring this to you? Did you play a lot of 3-on-3? Where did this idea come from?
Oh man, we used to battle in my backyard. We called it the Forum. In the 80s, it was a physical game. We wanted to be Daryl Dawkins. We wanted to be, Moses Malone.
Dr. J. Yeah.
It wasn't soft at all. So we would have some epic 3-on-3 games in the backyard. Banging up against the garage. You know what I mean? Like late at night, neighbors calling, saying, it's time to put that ball down. It's
yes, sir.
So that's what I grew up on, and I actually love the 3-on-3 better than 5-on-5 because being a amateur, you touch the ball a lot more in 3-on-3. You actually can get involved in the game. And, in the 5-on-5 game, you can get lost.
Yeah,
and so I always preferred it better to play.
Yeah.
Now, I always wondered why it hadn't been professionalized. Like, why aren't the pros, the 7-footers, the masters of the game, why aren't they playing this on a professional level? Just because nobody professionalized it.
Yep.
We started off as a retired NBA league,
right?
But we've gotten younger every year. Some of our stars are in their 20s now, who can really hoop at this level. The 3-on-3 game is a personal game. It's mano a mano. If you can't pass, dribble, shoot, and defend, you're going to get cooked. And so you got to have it all. You can't be a specialist in the Big Three.
Facts.
You can't be a defensive guy or just a rebound guy or three-point guy and get success. You got to be able to do it all. So it's its own sport in so many ways.
When you say the Big Three is its own sport, I mean, I totally agree with that. And the physicality is definitely bar none. It's probably one of the most physical professional leagues that play basketball right now. Looking forward, do you think that you offered Caitlin Clark $5 million to come play? I don't know if those reports were true, but do you ever foresee you incorporating women into the Big Three format?
Well, it's not really up to me. At the end of the day, the players pick who they want to play with. That's what's unique about the Big Three. It's not GM saying, I want this guy or that guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's players saying, hey, I know I can win with these guys. And so if they pick a female player, then she's in the Big Three.
Yes,
we'll
sir.
see how she do. So it's not up to me to say if she can play or not.
Okay.
It's up to the players to believe that she can help them win a championship. If they don't believe that, then it won't happen. But if they do believe there's a player out there that can do that and deal with the physicality of the league, then maybe. The only reason she came on the map is because, of course, as far as our sponsors and things like that, and somebody breaking that barrier, it would have been, epic to watch, and it would have unlocked a lot of dollars for the league. But at the end of the day, we've had some small guards like Nate Robinson, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, guys like that come in and really get loose in the league and have a good run. So she's that kind of player. So, maybe a small player like that who can shoot and pass could have some success. The bigger players down
Come
low,
on, Cube. Come on,
I
Cube.
mean,
You
I'm
know these brothers.
not gonna say what somebody can't do, but I'm just saying down low,
Yeah.
the bigger, like in the paint, it's too ugly.
But
It's
even
tough.
the Mahmouds and Nate Robb, I mean, look, Cheryl Miller used to work out with me and Reggie Theus and Kiki Vanderway up at UCLA when we were all in our primes and playing. And as good as she was, I mean, she just didn't have that level of physicality. And Caitlin Clark, I feel like these dudes, a national TV audience, all the media attention this is going to attract. She is not. This is my attitude as a player. She is not going to use me for for clownage fodder. I'm not being clownage fodder by Caitlin Clark.
That's what the beautiful thing about it is. Very debatable, of course, and until somebody wants to try it, and break that barrier and be like the Billie Jean King of it, then it'll always be debatable. But to me, owning a league, you can't say what a player can't do.
Right.
You got to give them the shot, and if they can do it, they can do it, and if not, they won't be on the court. We all know in professional sports, it's a level of play that you have to be able to achieve. If you can't get up to that threshold, you shouldn't be on the court.
Yeah, well, and I'll tell you this though, I definitely watch it. I'd pay to see it.
In person.
And that's the bottom line. I mean, I definitely watch it.
Business wise, it would have unlocked millions of dollars for the league without it.
One more thing on the Big Three, because 5 years ago, I read an article where you had a vision for the league. Now, and we fast forward to present day, the big 3-on-3 is now an Olympic sport. You obviously have your league as a professional league. You have Unrivaled that has sort of adopted a similar format on the women's side. And you also have the Pro 16 League, sponsored by Puma, on the AAU grassroots circuit that just dropped an announcement that they're going to run a whole 3-on-3 series. What's the long-term vision, Cube, for the Big Three? And do you see it evolving beyond the league that, is filled with retired NBA guys?
It's a level of play. So, I believe we have to maintain that level of play. And then, either guys can play at this level or not. A lot of ex-NBA players get into the league and get locked up and they can't do nothing. And there's guys who never sniffed an NBA court can actually get loose in the Big Three. So you either have this skill set, it's kind of like UFC and boxing.
Mm-hmm.
It's two different skill sets. And so Just because a guy can do the UFC thing, that don't mean he can just only box, and vice versa. So we feel like there's 5-on-5 specialists and there's 3-on-3 specialists. Now our long-term view is, our vision is to continue to have the best 3-on-3 league in the world. And if you look around, we have the best 3-on-3 league in the world with the best players that should be in the Olympics. That's a different story. So at the end of the day, continue to grow our league and continue to introduce our league around the world, and dominate the professional 3-on-3 space.
In terms of the initial kind of attraction for fans, I mean, it seems to me that being the cultural icon that you are, I mean, you were just as much a bigger part of that as the talent on the floor, because it was mainly older guys, retired guys, but it seems like you would have to really invest a lot of energy in terms of what you did at the inception of the league, promotional wise, and you probably still do, but your name attracts crowds.
Yeah, without a doubt. I've been doing this for a decade now, and it's really about my past work has made people even look this way, just to see, okay, what Cube doing this?
What's he up to? Yeah.
And so they come, they like it, they love it, they find out, hey, these guys are still in this format. They're just as good as any other basketball player in the world in the half court 3-on-3 first to 50.
Right.
So they probably can't play a NBA schedule, 82 games and back to backs and 3 games and 4 nights and all that crazy stuff. But one week, one game a week to 50, these guys are next level. So at the end of the day, we got the best, and it's really about just making sure we continue to grow that and make the league bigger and bigger.
And nobody embodies that to me, Cube, more so than Joe Johnson, ISO Joe. He had that great run in the Big Three, and not all, but the younger generation of guys were coming out saying, "Oh, he can play in the NBA. He can dominate." I'm trying to tell him, slow your roll. It's half court. How would his game translate? Open court, best transition player maybe in the history of the game. There is no transition in the Big Three. How would his game translate to the Big Three in your mind?
I still think he would dominate. It's we still have a place for the big man in the Big Three. You can still play with your back to the basket if that's what you want to do, and use your post moves, or he could stretch the floor a little bit so he could dribble. So I don't think he would have any problem in dominating in the Big Three, because he got it all anyway. And if you could pass, dribble, shoot, and defend at a high level, you should be fine in the Big Three.
And Cube, to follow up on Giannis, man, you was in L.A. when the Lakers were going through the drama when Kobe, he wanted to bounce at one point, ended up staying. How do you view like that whole scenario, like staying with one team? Does that tarnish his legacy if he was to bounce, or is it strengthen his legacy if he does stay with the Bucks?
If he bounce and get more championships, I don't think that can hurt his legacy. But if he stay and get more championships in Milwaukee, his legacy to me would be bigger. That's the right way to do it. If he's at the end of your career, chasing a championship is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're still young and you're still the piece, you want people to come play with you and bring championships where you are, not relocate.
Yeah.
Facts.
So listen, man, let's talk about ball players that are rappers. And Dame Lillard. For me, I'm not a rap aficionado by any stretch of the imagination. I tell you, I like the hooks and then the music if it's good, and the lyrics are positive and are saying something. But what's your thoughts on Dame as a rapper? I like where he's coming from, but Dame and then other ball players that may have impressed you it may be a short list. It may be no list, but ball player rappers, man. Who do you like? I want to ask you who you don't like, but who do you like out there?
Dame is good. To me, I don't see as much as I did a few years back, where it seemed like people were really, showing what they could do musically. So I don't know if the athletes done took a step back from producing music. Now I know that the ball boy who's not in the league did his hit,
Tweaker. Yeah.
and so people are multifaceted. So I never count people out just because they do one occupation
Yeah.
well. You know, it was all kind of players that. I mean, people got talent, man, and basketball is one element. But there's people out there that can still do it. They just not doing it as much, from what I see.
Yeah, so you don't look down at. I mean, you don't like, man. They think they can do it. This looks so easy to them. They think they can do this. I mean, you respect the fact that they are trying to get into, express themselves in music. And I mean, how do you look at these guys?
If they don't laugh at me trying to play basketball, I won't laugh at them trying to rap. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be cool.
Keep it real. Keep it real.
Yeah.
I'm not. I ain't in no position to be laughing at nobody. So, no, if you could do it, it ain't about who you are, man. It's about what you can get to come out the speakers.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. If you can get it to come out the speakers and make people dig it, coming out the speakers, you're in the music business.
Yeah. So messed around and got a triple double. Have you ever had a triple double, brother?
I probably have.
Okay. All right.
We in the game, you get a lot of shots up.
Yeah.
So I know I got more than 10. A lot of bricks. I done got 10 rebounds, and I could dish the ball. So
dimes.
I probably had a triple double.
Okay.
And in terms of music people, I used to play cube at Crenshaw High School on Tuesday nights when I was in the NBA with Philip Bailey, Harvey Mason Sr., whose son Harvey Mason Jr. was the first commissioner of the Big Three, a great drummer, some other great musicians. Marvin Gaye would show up out there, man. And these guys were okay. Now, but from what you've seen, the Chris Browns and then the other musicians, give me a top 3 to 5 guys that you've seen out there who really got game as musicians.
Oh man, yeah, Chris Brown's one of them. I seen the Game, the rapper. The Game is dope. Snoop got game. N.W.A. Chopper, Gilly from Gilly the Kid.
Yeah.
Oh, Gilly nice. Gilly nice.
That lefty,
Gilly nice.
Talking trash. That lefty jumper.
A lot of trash. He don't just play. He talking, and so
yes, sir.
That's how the game is supposed to be played. How he play it, just talking mess, making buckets, and nothing but total confidence. And so, there's a few people out there that can really get down.
Well, listen, man, we appreciate you coming by here and spending some time with us. And the Big Three, you founded it in 2017. You start your 8th season in Chicago, June 14th. It kicks off, and I mean, what a brilliant concept. And I just like the fact, again, that you give these youngsters a chance. That final question, but that you drop the age limit from 27 to 22.
Yes.
What is that going to do in terms of these old heads and them having a place to express themselves on the floor? I mean, is it going to cut down their opportunities?
Maybe. This is a pro league, so you either can play or not.
Yep.
It's not a league just because you want to get a run on weekends. Right. You know what I'm saying? This is a league that you have to have a level of play, and once you can't come up to that level no more. Unfortunately, you're no longer a pro player, at least in the Big Three. So we want to keep a standard, and we have to create our own superstars to really be a league. We can't just rely on the NBA. And when they're done playing there, to come play with us. We got to have guys who are stars on the 3-on-3 level. So developing young stars, 22 and up, guys who maybe tried the NBA and couldn't get there, and maybe going our route. And sometimes the NBA, we all know, it's not talent all the time. It's numbers, it's attitudes, it's personalities, it's politics, as well. So just because a guy's not there, that don't mean he's not one of the best basketball players in the world. So we want to develop our own athletes.
So it's not going to be like when I came into the NBA in the late 70s, how they had a quota system. 6 white guys had to be in Kansas City, had to be in Cleveland, had to be in Milwaukee. You're not going to hold down any spots for the 40-year-olds or the 50-year-olds. There's no quota system for the old guys.
It ain't about your name, man. It's about the game.
Yes, sir.
So if you still got the game, you can play. Just because you name this and name that, that don't people don't care about paying for that. You know, people who want to see if you can still ball, and if you can at this level, it's probably a spot for you.
Yeah, appreciate
and we got more people. We had 120 people at our combine.
Damn.
For 24 spots.
Wow.
So it's actually less than that, 16 spots. Excuse me. So it's competitive. There's people that want to play.
Yeah.
So we want to get the best 3-on-3 players in the world.
Yeah. Well, you struck a chord, man, with the sporting public out there, man, and continued success to you in all facets. Your Friday. The movie
the last Friday.
Tidy Lister was a friend of mine, man, that we played ball at University High School all the time together. And D.O.L.L.A was out of his mind, but he was a great guy. But man, just continued success to you and everything you're doing, man. And we appreciate you so much stopping by here District with us, man. Appreciate you.
Anytime, every time, man. Let's do this again.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
Later.
This has been a Bucks Plus audio production.